So Crystal Palace get us away in this game at White Hart Lane, defending the goal to our right. Palace in yellow shirts with blue shorts. Spurs in their customary white with black shorts. And I suppose if you're watching on black and white receivers, there is a similarity. Let me just point out for you that Crystal Palace are the team wearing with the black ring to their shirts around the neck and arms, and also the black ring at the top of their stockings. Now here's Alan Birchnell back in the side after 3 games, but a poor pass, and it's Martin Chivers for Spurs. Kinnear. Chivers. Kinnear again. And Coates. Wall watching him very closely, and Gilzean, a certain amount of inconclusive play there in the Crystal Palace defence. But now Kinnear. Gilzean. And Noel Clive, in fact, who shot into his own goal in this corresponding match last season. I'm sure he must have had that on his mind at that particular moment, but he got out of trouble well. Foul that time by Blythe on Chivers, but the referee in fact is, well, the ball is in the net, but the whistle had gone. The whistle had gone. The linesman had his flag up, and the referee whistled. The linesman put his flag down, and I suppose Chivers saw that without hearing the whistle and went on. Really smacked it past Jackson, but long after the whistle had gone for this free kick. And that's how it is from behind Jackson's goal, almost a central position, some 25 yards out. Played by Peters there for Knowles to bang one and well wide. Two skippers, Steve Kember and Alan Mullery. Here's Stevie Kember, who was in fact married earlier this month.
Yeah, you said, Ralph, that you came to Spurs as a winger and you eventually became midfield. That was Billy Nick's identification of the problem, I suppose. But what was Billy Nick like?
Oh, terrific, second to none. Terrific manager. I've got a lot of time for him, still have. He's still at Spurs there doing the youth development work. And he came up to me and he sensed I wasn't happy on the wing because I'd been playing for Burnley in midfield and I was the central player in midfield and playmaker, and then he sensed I wasn't happy on the wing, relying on other people to give me the ball, and he changed it the following season. You know, terrific, yeah.
Billy Nick, one of the great managers, Bobby, isn't he?
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, you've only got to look at the success, but not only that, the production of players, the number of players that he brought in, young players, and the skill of who to buy and who to sell at the right time. That's the gift of a great manager. Bill Nicholson had it without question, yes.
And a happy ship under him at White Hart Lane, I imagine. Everyone respected him so much.
Yeah, the motivation of the team was terrific, and that was down to Bill. Yeah, he kept everybody happy and on the ball. But you couldn't get a lot away from him, you know, he wouldn't let you get away with too much.
Players,
you know, he still had that discipline.
Yeah. But players respected him, you know, for his knowledge. Yeah.
See, that's the most important asset, I think, respect.
I think so, yes.
Gilzean taking a bit of a buffeting there. Peters! Oh, my goodness, just over that Crystal Palace crossbar with a really tremendous shot by Peters. That'll fall for Knowles. Nicely controlled, neatly to Perryman, and now to Beale. Knowles. Chivers. And Coates winning a good tackle there. Shrugging off one from Hoadley. Still Ralph Coates. But in the end, space ran out on him. But it's Spurs throw, and the first long throw of the match we've got from Martin Chivers. Gilzean at the near post as ever. And nodding it on. Peters now jockeying for a position there. And Mullery to blast it but well wide. That wasn't at all a bad chance for Alan Mullery. And another example again of how those long throws from Chivers so often cause so much havoc in a defence. Birchinall, Wall. Stopped by Beale. Kinnear. And Beale again. Good play by Philip Beale. And Perryman to take it up now for Spurs. The referee prepared to let that one go on with Spurs in possession. Played for Gilzean. Perryman again. The penalty area absolutely packed now with Crystal Palace players, and Spurs are going to find it difficult. There's Chivers putting it across. Muller's got in, and he's put it against the crossbar, and it's finally put behind by Mel Blythe, who is down and injured. Muller's header there against that Crystal Palace crossbar, and they knew nothing about that one. Blythe looking as though he's happy to go on now. Mullery with the corner. And Chivers jumping but not quite reaching it. England to turn it back again for Tottenham. And Peters to nod it in, and this time Jackson to gather it. The whistle in fact goes for half-time. A really defensive battle by Crystal Palace, trying to keep out men like Martin Chivers, who was so desperately close for Spurs on one occasion.
Well, unbelievably goalless at half-time, but goals to come in the second.
So Spurs then get us away at the start of the second half. No score. Spurs, who've won, in fact, 4 of their last 5 games and drawn the other one. Although might, at the moment, be a little push to break down a very stubborn Crystal Palace defence this afternoon. No trouble pulling down Kinnear then, and a free kick to Spurs. Palace, of course, who haven't won since the very first day of the season in the league, when they beat Newcastle. In fact, have lost all their 4 away games. There's Kinnear with a free kick. Peters getting ahead to that one, but no power behind it. Hoadley and Payne losing it to Peters. Blythe in very quickly, just as quickly in was Perryman, now Mullery. Flicked with the outside of his boot, very nicely there for Ralph Coates. Knowles going up, and Coates seemed to know that he would be there. Coates across that goal. No, Coates again. Peters with his head. And Knowles with time enough to turn it back again. Coates. Peters staying right in there. And a goal kick at last to Crystal Palace. Martin Peters. And the Spurs management wisely deciding to fence off that area behind that goal, from where they had a bit of trouble when Newcastle were here earlier this season. Jenkins. Linesman again flagging on this side, but of course the final decision is always with the referee, and if the linesman sees anything, he's got a flag. And now Perryman. Peters. Oh, it goes in. Down he goes, and that surely has got to be a penalty, and it is a penalty. That was a very good piece of refereeing. In fact, Mr. Smith delaying that decision until he saw whether the ball finished up in the net, because he felt that it was a penalty offence when Gilzean was brought down, and then when it went wide, gave the penalty. Well, now that's going to put pressure on John Jackson. And it's going to be Martin Peters who takes it.
There was a little sneaky look from Alan Gilzean to see if the referee had noticed what was going on.
Yes, he's a crafty sod, Alan. People think he's just there for his aerial power, but he's very deceptive on the ground for a tall chap.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the penalty.
Now, which corner is he going to go for, do you think?
Well, I can't
Ralph?
remember. Left-hand side. Yeah. Keeper's left, I guess, in the
Yes, yes, of course. Was that always the side? Or nearly
no, he
always?
varied it. But in that side, there was about 5 players who wanted to take penalties, but
Did they?
I think Martin was well in with Bill Nick at the time.
Here he goes again, look. Beautiful corner taken there.
sent him the wrong way, terrific.
Bobby?
Yes, well, he just made his mind up. It's like every penalty you see, you know, if you're indecisive, you have a chance of missing them. But if you're positive in your mind, no reason why, you just pop it in the corner.
Who took penalties in the World Cup squad in '66? Or who was deputed to do it?
I can't remember.
I'm just thinking, watching Martin take that one.
We didn't get one, did we?
No, you didn't, no.
No, we didn't get one.
I just wonder who Ralph would have chosen.
Alf, I don't know. It may have been me, I don't know. It may have been me.
Did you take penalties ever, Ralph?
No, I was a coward. No, I was. No, I didn't take any penalties at all.
No.
This season. Beale to Knowles. Finding Coates. It's been very tensed up indeed, Ralph Coates, in the few weeks he's had here at Tottenham. But that little run a moment ago will show Spurs fans what he can do. England still not out of trouble, though the linesman is flagging furiously. Virginal there, and my goodness, that was a bad back pass there that almost let Virginal in for Crystal Palace. Well, Mike, England would have been a bit sore about that one. And a beautiful ball there to Kinnear. Mullery in close support. Here's Mullery. Chivers again coming away from that defence. Still Martin Chivers. And a goal kick.
I imagine, Ralph, there must have been some great characters and amusing characters in this Spurs squad.
Oh, there was. Everyone was a comedian.
Really?
Although they could play a bit. And Cyril Knowles there, the fullback, he used to come up with some anecdotes and always taking the mickey out of people, like, you know. I mean, I was, when I came from Burnley, first one to have a go at me was Cyril about me tie and me clothes. And he didn't reckon fashion had got up to Burnley.
Alan Mullery wasn't short of a word either, was he?
No, he's a bit of a quiet lad, yeah, Alan. Yeah, he was...
Didn't have much to say for himself.
Yeah, I can remember the first cross-country we did, and we were passing this garage, and we hadn't quite got a house yet, we were still looking, and Alan says, well, there's a house for you, that'll cost about 250,000. It was only a little garage, you know, prefabricated place, you know.
Watch this now, here we are. There, we talked about Shiv. Yeah, yeah, Ralph, you set it up there. You did well there, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. I had a good rapport with Martin. Yeah, I roomed with Martin on away trips, and we had quite an understanding together. And he must have known where I was going to put that. But he's so deceptive for a big fella, you know. His control is unbelievable.
Nice little through ball there from Ralph.
Bobby? It was a good ball, yeah. And Martin Chivers is a big, strong lad as well. He shrugged off any challenges, you know. Just got his toe into it. Good striker's goal, but yeah, it's an art in the middle of the field, you know, to actually see these little gaps and to actually pick people out when you've not got a lot of space. It's not everybody that can do it.
And Beale, again a clumsy clearance, but again finding Ralph Coates. And Coates, well, in fact, he got the beating of Hoadley there, but then played it safe to James. Gilzine, a lovely flick on there for Chivers. Kinnear. Gilzine. Chivers again. And now Peters. Muller has gone forward. Chivers again. Knowles. Oh, brought down by Mel Blythe. And again, certainly you could argue that a fortnight ago, that sort of challenge would have brought a booking, but again we get the situation where things have levelled off to the point that a stiff word from the referee and a free kick for Spurs suffices. Mike England, in fact, stayed back for this one, but it's Knowles to take it. Gilzine, and Peters almost terminated again. Gilzine, and it goes behind. Linesman on the far
I must say the pressure's on here, Ralph. You're looking a very good side. But you talked about how well you were received, but what was it like coming to live in London?
Well, it was a big culture shock for me. I thought long and hard about it. In fact, it was like going to Australia for me. I mean, I got the impression that it was bright lights and nightclubs and what have you, rightly or wrongly. That's the impression I formed. And I was a quiet lad, well, still am, and I didn't fancy it. It was only the pull of the name of Spurs and that they'd gone into Europe that really made me persuade me.
Yeah.
Still Jenkins again.
So, when Ralph was saying it's a culture shock, you know, leaving Burnley. I mean, Burnley is in the hills in Lancashire there, and they always used to. I always used to think that it was the policy of the club to make sure that everybody thought that anybody outside Burnley was the enemy. You know, it was. And when we used to train with them. Under 23 matches, international matches, the Burnley lads always used to keep to themselves. Am I right?
That's right, yeah.
They used to go on their own table. They didn't want to be contaminated, you know, by the ways of the outsiders. No, it was right, that. But they produced some great players. Don't kid yourself. They could play. Yeah. Great football team.
Was on the way for number 3. Oh, my goodness! Kemba caught that right in the face from Knowles. And they were both going for it with their feet. And honestly, that must have been 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But Mr. Smith has got his book out. And Knowles, I would think, will get his name in the book for that. But I'm sure if we looked at that, we would see that Kemba, in fact, also had his foot very high indeed. And in fact, Kemba is going there to have a word with referee David Smith. Well, I would think that's a little unfortunate for Cyril Knowles. And I suppose you could also say a little unfortunate for Steve Kemba to get it in the face like that too. And Queen versus Jennings right out of his area. Playing the part of the fullback. And now dashing back to play the part of a goalkeeper. Phil Hoadley. Tambling. Beale. Gilzine. Perryman's gone off on a run. That's the one for Perryman. Chivers calling for it and getting it. Now Chivers probably prepared to take on everybody. No, for Perryman. Oh, and it's stopped by Jackson. A good save. Mullery to follow it in. Chivers there, just over. But a beautiful move again by Tottenham. Perryman. Beginning to assert a lot of influence in the middle of the field now, Perryman with Mullery. Gilzine. Coates the worker. To Mullery the skipper, and now Kinnear. Turning again, Gilzine just getting a foot to it. Chivers to knock it down for Perryman. Gilzine. Flick through there, and will it go? No, it won't. Perryman again, playing with Crystal Palace, and Mullery to really hammer that one. They toyed with Crystal Palace once, twice and again.
You got a feeling, Bobby, that Alan Mullery always wanted to score goals.
Yeah,
frustrated forward.
Yeah, well, he's a great striker of the ball. Yeah, he's a good long passer, and it was obvious he'd get his fair share of goals. But he loved scoring goals, and I mean, when he struck them well. I always had a lot of time for Alan Mullery, a really good type of player that in any team would always do well because he had this enthusiasm. He loved the game. He loved talking about the game.
Coates.
And a good player, really super player.
Played nicely for Chivers. Leading Blythe, and my goodness, again Jackson needed to get down very quickly to get a hand to that one. Kemba to Queen. Hoadley. Looking for Jenkins, and now he's found Kemba. Kemba shot. Very close now to the end of the game. Gilzine. A flick there for Coates. In the shadow of the stand, but still at walking pace on this baking afternoon. Back to Kinnear. And another cross, Gilzine to go for it. And the punching, though, of Jackson to get it away for Crystal Palace. Kemba now to Laughlin. Hoadley. And there's the final whistle. And on the evidence of the second half, comfortable and a well-deserved win by Spurs. Martin Peters, who got him on the way with that penalty. Martin Chivers, who added the second one, and Alan Mullery, who added a really extravagant third one after they'd really toyed with the Crystal Palace defence.